Hi everyone, it's Bridget again, and I'm here to talk to you about why we chose climate change as our S Week theme, and one event that I'm particularly excited about around that theme. So, why we chose climate change as our S Week theme. I think that this was a pretty easy decision for us. It was pretty unanimous, and it's because climate change, first off, itself is could be entirely catastrophic to the world in the worst case scenario. And obviously, I really hope that doesn't happen, but it's really important for people to be considering climate change just on its own merits, if that makes sense. Also, climate change is really important in that it impacts just about every other social or environmental issue that I can think of. If you think of access to clean water, spread of disease, lack of arable land, forest changes, biodiversity loss, ocean acidification, all of these have really clear links to climate change and ongoing problems that are being caused by climate changes. So we think that it's important to consider on its own, but also important to consider as a lens through which to view other important issues for us. I think a lot of people don't talk about climate change because it's so massive and because it's so scary, because it's going to impact the whole world, and the decisions that have to be made about climate change are in some ways going to be global in scale. But the reason that we chose This Just Got Personal as our sub-theme is because it is also a product of every person's decisions every day. What happens will be decided by us in the tiny decisions that we make. So we want to emphasize for Guelph students that yes, it's an enormous problem, and yes, it ties to every other enormous problem that you can think of. And yes, it is going to be solved in some degree at an international scale, but that they themselves can have an impact and that they can be heard if they want to talk about how they think other people should be addressing climate change. So one thing that I'm particularly excited about is going to be the climate change debate. It's not a debate about whether climate change exists or not. It's a debate about how we're going to address climate change, if we're going to be using carbon tax or a cap and trade system. So I think that this is really exciting for two reasons. First of all, it's exciting to hear that kind of question be asked, to sort of consider in a formal manner what system we think would be better. But I think it's also important because a lot of the decisions about how we address climate change as a society, not as an individual, but as a society, are going to be made in the political arena. And political arena is dominated by the mode of communication that is debate. Like, politicians will debate with each other about these issues. And a formal debate among university students is a little bit different than a formal debate among politicians, but the basic principles are quite similar. And I think that it's really helpful for students, first of all, to get a sense of how that form of communication works, and to sort of understand, okay, so this is what they're really saying when they say this house believes or something like that. And then I also think it's really important for students to sort of start to understand the limitations of the form of debate, because there are very serious limitations, and I think that many of them will become clear as students watch this show round. And I think that the other most exciting opportunity for students as a result of this presentation is going to be that they are going to get a sense of how debates work, and therefore they can consider how they themselves would like to engage with a debate. Because as they see it, then they'll have a sense of how they can do it themselves. And that, I hope, will empower students to get involved in this more political way of solving climate change. Sounds kind of ridiculous, but I really do believe that students have something to say, and that if they understand the mode of communication that is most common in government, that they can be empowered to actually say it. So that's what I'm really hoping for, and that's what I'm most excited about. See you guys next week.